Virtual on episode 9, the season finale, everyone. Yes, this is the season finale of Virtual On, as I just said, so really I'm repeating myself. I'm so good at these things, right, guys? Don't you like me? Anyway, what happens in this one is, well, it's kind of like not gonna lie, kind of feel like a Vrains episode 7. We're just like, okay, guys, there's too much recap in this. I know we need to get to 24 minutes, but there's too much recap. Although, granted, that's still better than Edward making macaroni and cheese. Although I would have found it funny if he went home and his house was burned to the ground and the air flares had said, due to someone just leaving their macaroni and cheese to cook, and Edward's like, uh-oh. I want that thing to come back at some point, just to have that brought back. I don't know why. Maybe there's a part of me that wants that completely 1 minute of pointlessness just to come back and be used for something at least. Who knows, maybe in season 2. But anyway, what happens in this one is Edward has a rematch with himself after he tries to open the door to his house and then gets knocked into a dream world. Or as I like to call it, he fell asleep while opening his own door. I know that's not what really happened. He more like has a vision or something like that. But given how the last time that happened, he fell asleep, I like to imagine he fell asleep opening the door. That's just funnier to me. So Edward duels himself in a rematch and is able to beat himself because the evil Edward is bad at math, and the evil Edward's also trying to take over his body, and it's just trying to tell us that worse things are to come and all that shit, even though we still haven't beaten Askiro/Red-Eye/Beetleborg yet. So really, worse things are still happening when you think about it. I know they're saying is that it can always get worse, but it isn't exactly good now. So, yeah. Other than that, this is really one of those cases where just like, I know what they were going for with Edward had to beat his evil self unlike last time, but the only reason Edward won was because Mystic Plasma Zone didn't activate correctly, and instead it gave him a 3,400 attack, gave one of his monsters 3,400 attack points instead of 3,500 as it should have been, and Edward got to survive with 100 life points because of that. Dude, at that point, if I were you, I would just make it like Yami or something like that, or just, I don't know, something less powerful. If I get what you were going for, but it's just like, when it's that obviously I can't do math correctly, it feels like it kind of screwed up somewhere in the ring. Like, I get Mystic Plasma Zone because it's also one of those cards where it says, also reduce their defense points by 400, so maybe you got to mix up on that one with the defense and the attack. If that's the case, I completely forgive you of that, considering it is a confusing little thing. But if it's just, I don't know, that's just not how I would write the thing, but again, it's not me. Maybe more people will alright with me. Hell, it's a vision, so who knows? Maybe in the vision the card works differently. I don't know. Either way, Edward got to beat himself up. And then after he beat himself up, after all the flashbacks of what happened in their previous duel, basically showing us their entire duel, which was 2 turns, remind you. And then after that, we get flashbacks to the president. And we've still left in the scene of Edward still giving the president dub in as he starts to speak. In which case, Edward, you should have cut that part out. I'm sorry, but when you make it that obvious, that's a cut, my friend. I know, I completely understand. Like, maybe you just didn't notice it. If you didn't notice it, that's fine. I have been there many times. I tried to upload episodes of Ragnarok, and then when I watched them back after the fact, I look back and it's just like, oh shit, I didn't like put a sound effect here, or I forgot to cut this part here, or all this other stuff. In which case, I have to go back and do them again, so the links usually break. That's the reason why Ragnarok Episode 1's link was originally broken, because it was linked to an episode that I had deleted because it was obsolete. I didn't do one of the summoning animation sound effects, and then I forgot to fix the link for the old version. So yeah, it's really more of a recap for Ragnarok if you want to get right down to it. But anyway, after that we have the great epic reunion. We get to meet Frigate, I forget. I'm great at names. I need to write down the whole family at this point. Of course, Edward meets the other Dartha. It's Ivan's brother, I forget. I'm sorry, he doesn't have that much screen time, so I just easily forget it. Ivan, Dartha, Lethra, the 4th guy who has the crackled voice. I'm sorry, I'm just bad at names. Anyway, what happens with that is, we learn that also he's also as smart as Ivan, considering he can do things on a chalkboard. Next we'll have him playing chess, because that's another cliche of him being smart. And at first he blames Dartha and all that for all his failings, but then Edward's like, no dude, it was because of this guy. This guy's the real prick here, and of course we get the flashback. And we need your help in order to defeat this Red-Eyes prick. To which, of course, the brother's like, oh, okay, my bad. And then joins their forces. And then that's the end of the episode. Your big epic season finale! Solved by being bad at math, and solved by And we get to find out that all the Darthas have now joined forces, except Ivan, but he's dead, so can you really count him? So yeah, that's the season finale, everyone. The epicness. I'm not saying the season finale you should have defeated the Red Eyes guy, but it also feels like you should have fought the Red Eyes guy. Like, I would have saved the whole 2-on-1 duel for the season finale. But who knows? I'm not the writer. Hell, at least Edward got to defeat his evil self through bad math. So I guess that is some sort of finalization to it. Who knows? Maybe he'll have a final epic duel in the end, towards the end of the series, and they'll be like, okay, this time math is correct. I know I keep harping on that, but that's because it is a point, It's just something you kind of notice later. In fact, I don't blame you for that math error. It's just one of those things you notice, and just when you notice it, you can't help but harp away at it. Other than that, it's a pretty great episode. It's a good finale, but not fantastic. But, for an end of a season 1, in which case we're still experimenting a bit, I think it's good enough. So, if I had to rank it, I guess I'd give it like a B. It's fine. It's not fantastic or anything like that. Like, this isn't going to be anything in the official series or anything like that. But as for season 1 of a fan-made series, where we're still trying to get our grounds and all that jazz, it's fine. I thought the introduction to Virtual On was stronger than the ending, but we're still not done with Virtual On yet. We have season 2 to go. All that said, I'm looking forward to season 2, and this is a great James signing off. Bye.